So hello and welcome to another video. So today what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade the solar controller in the camper van. The one on the right is what was in, that's the 40 amp Renogy. We're going to upgrade it to the one on the left, it's a 60 amp Renogy. We've got 400 watts of solar on the roof just now. We're going to upgrade that to 600 and then probably we'll upgrade it to 800 at a later date. A few of the specs on the 60 amp are it'll take 12, 24, 36 and 48 volt systems, and it's got auto recognition, and maximum voltage it'll take for the panels is 150 volts DC. Also within it, it's got preset parameters for gel, sealed, flooded or lithium batteries, and it's also got a user profile in there where you can set the parameters according to your battery, and we'll be using the user setting on that. So with the controller itself in the box, there's also a temperature sensor. We're not going to be using that because we're using lithium, and lithium can take care of the low charge, the low temp disconnect, stuff like that. Where we're going to mount it, it's going to be mounted here. Spaces at a premium, as you've probably seen for the previous videos, so we'll get this squared up and then we'll get it screwed up. What I've done is I've done a little template, we'll put that up there, we'll get the screws in, and as you can see it hangs on, so we'll get that up and then we'll have a look at how it's going to get hooked up. So with the solar controller mounted on the backboard there, what we're going to have a look at now is we're going to have a look at the connections down here. So there was a panel covering that, it's just a couple of screws and it clips off, 2 screws either side. Take that off, we'll have a look at the connections. So what we've got down here is we've got, from the left we've got PV plus, so that's the positive from the solar panels, PV minus, that's the negative from the solar panels, battery minus, that's a negative going to the leisure battery, load minus, and we've got battery plus going to the leisure battery, and we've got load plus. So what we're going to concern ourselves with is hooking the battery up first. You must hook the battery up first. Do not hook the solar up first, you'll end up burning that controller out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a negative from bat minus, we're going to run it down here, get a clip in there, and then we'll get it into this bus bar here, and bat plus there. We're going to run that, we're going to put a 60 amp fuse in here, and then that will run down into that bus bar there. Now I've seen a few folk, they've been fitting those cheap resettable breakers in between the controller and the battery. I've seen a few horror stories about them. I wouldn't recommend them if you're going to use those resettable breakers because you just want to cut the power. If you just want to cut the power and work on something, don't buy the ones on the popular auction site. They're bad quality. I've seen some, 40 amp ones take up 100 amps before the things, there's smoke coming out the thing, but it's not doing its job. So what to do is go somewhere. I could recommend like 12 Volt Planet in the UK, something like that. Go there, buy them there, because they're quality breakers, and fit them instead. Anyway, we're going to crack on with this. We're going to get this negative in, we're going to get the positive in, as I said, 60 amp mini fuse and into the bus bar, and we'll get back to you. So we've got things hooked up now, as you can see. We've also got the solar panels hooked up, they're going into their positions there. We'll have a quick look and we'll go through the cabling that we've used. So this is the pre-existing cabling. This is 6mm cabling, more than enough for what we need. So that's positive and negative solar in there. We've got the negative in here. I've used 16mm cable coming out. I could have got away with 10mm, but I had quite a lot of the 16mm left over for the previous install, so we just went with that. You see the positive coming out here. We're into a 60 amp MIDI fuse there, and then it goes straight into the bus bars there. The Bluetooth module, we've got that hooked up. So on the 40 amp controller I was using the BT1 Bluetooth module. Now this 60 amp controller will either take the BT1 or the BT2 Bluetooth module. You can see here that this is hooked in there. That's where the BT1 would go, and there's another port here. If you had a BT2, it would get put in there. So that's where we are. I don't know if there's a great deal to add to it. The controllers, hit that down twice and you'll get into settings, and then go right once. So I've set the battery to 12 volt system, obviously. Battery type is lithium. Now if we go down one and go into that, we can change that. There's gel, there's solid, there's flooded, and that's user. I intend to use the user profile on this because there's certain parameters within the lithium setting on this that I'm not 100% with, so I'm going to use the user profile and I'm going to set up all the parameters myself. But I'm not going to go into that right now because this video is about this unit, and if you bought this unit and had a different battery, you would have to look at the battery, see what the manufacturer says, and then put in the parameters according to the manufacturer. So we just put it on lithium for the time being. You see here as well, capacity, I've set that to 300 amp hours. We're using a 300 amp hour mini core battery, and you can go through a few of these. There is a couple, when it highlights itself like that, that means you can change it. If it's got a line underneath it, it means you can't change it within that setting. You would have to go to the user setting, the user profile, sorry, and you could change every one of these. So you can see what they are. I'm not going to go through them. If you want to stop at any time, you can see what all of these are. And then we just come back out by pressing that. So the battery's fully charged, 14.3, 14.4. It's not putting any power into the battery. The BMS has, topped itself off and said, that's me, I've had enough. Really, I don't think there's too much else to add to this video. If you've got any questions, I mean, stick them down below and we'll get them answered for you. Oh, the eagle-eyed might notice I've put another piece of backboard in here. It was easier to mount this fuse holder with another bit of backboard in. So we just put that in. Also remember, I never done an unboxing on this one, but your warranty, scan that and register your product and get your warranty. And really that's about it, folks. We'll call it on this one, and the next video we're going to do is we're going to upgrade the panels. It's a bit more involved. I've had to make custom brackets. Sorry for the traffic noise. I've had to make custom brackets to fit on the roof. I've got roof bars, 4 roof bars, but you'll see that in the next video. Anyway, folks, I hope you've found this one useful. Give me a like, share it. A subscribe would be nice. Until the next one, take care.